Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about prediction markets. So will the war in Ukraine stop in 2024? Who will win the US election? What will be the inflation in the Eurozone in 2025? So all of those questions are unknown, and we can't really know the answer of those questions. However, we can get some market-based estimates of those. So let's take this example prediction market. Will the war in Ukraine stop in 2024? What we can do, we can put some token, for example, some stable coin, into the prediction market. And now we get two tokens. One yes token, which will redeem for one DAI if the war stops, and one no token, which will redeem for one DAI if the war doesn't stop. So none of those outcomes are tradable. And the value of the token on the market is going to give you the probability of those events happening. So for example, if the yes token is trading at 20 cents, that will mean that there is a 20% chance of the war stopping in 2024. We can also try to estimate values instead of just outcomes. So for the inflation, we can ask what will be the inflation in 2025, and we can set up a range. So for example, from 0 to 10%. Now we can also put a DAI, and we will get one up DAI and one down DAI. So if the inflation is at the lower bound or lower, so here 0 or less deflation, so the down token will redeem. If it's higher than the upper bound, so in this case 12%, which is higher than the 10% upper bound, the up token will redeem. But if it's in the middle, both tokens will redeem proportionally. So for example, if the inflation is at 8%, the down token will redeem for 20 cents, and the up token will redeem for 80 cents. And we can also find estimate. So if you assume that there is negligible probabilities of the value of the inflation not being between 0 and 10%, and the up token trades at 70 cents, that will mean that there is an estimated 7% inflation that will happen in 2025. We can even do better. We can use the token that we got in a previous market and put those back into another market. So here we have this example, which was given by Gnosis, who created the conditional token framework. Will Elon Musk step down from Tesla? Yes, no. So we put some DAI. Now we have a yes token and a no token. But now we can ask another question. Will the Tesla stock be above 300? And we put this yes DAI into this new market. And now we have a token which would redeem if Elon Musk steps down and the price of Tesla stock is above 300. So why is that very interesting is that now we can do conditional probabilities. So we can look at the price of the token yes and above in respect to the yes token. And if this token is worth, let's say, 0.4 yes token, that will mean that if Elon Musk steps down, there is a 40% chance of the Tesla stock price being above 300. We can ask, okay, how do we resolve this market? How does the chain know this market? So if you know me, I'm one of the founders of Kleros, so we already have the answer for that. So we let anyone answer those questions using reality. And if people believe that the current answer is wrong, they can either escalate in reality or go to Kleros. And if they go to Kleros, we'll have some juror which will rule on this market and vote on what was the correct outcome. So this happened in the previous election, where you had mainly two sides. So no one was arguing that Trump won, but you had some people who argued that Trump lost. And some other people who argue, well, it's undetermined because he did not admit he lost and he's intending some legal challenges, so we don't really know. And we should split 50-50 the underlying tokens. So the ruling was that Trump lost the election, which nowadays seems more or less obvious, but it was not really that obvious specifically in the US 4 years ago. Now, let's look at some of the issues that we have with prediction market. The most common issue is liquidity. So first, we have an opportunity cost. So if, for example, I wanted to make a prediction market on will there be some human living on Mars in 2040, well, those tokens, they will be locked for a long time, and they will have inflation, so I will lose a lot of money, even if I win the prediction market because of inflation. Another problem is the chicken and the egg problem. So you have no liquidity. Since you have no liquidity, you have no liquidity provider, because the liquidity provider get themselves some profit out of the spread when they are trading up and down. And since you have no trader, you have no liquidity, and you have this chicken and the egg problem. And another very big problem in prediction market is what is often referred to impermanent loss, which is not really well called because most of the time the loss is permanent. And in prediction market, tokens, they tend to go to 0 or to 1. They go to 1 if the outcome happens, and they go to 0 if the outcome does not happen. So it's even worse than in most liquidity providing. So first, how to solve the opportunity cost. This one we can use money Lego. So instead of using a token which is just a stable or well-known crypto, we can use some underlying token which may be yield bearing. So in this example, we can use SDAI or STETH. So this way, the underlying token will continue to accrue some yield, and this means that markets, which can take years to resolve, can become viable. Now, how do we solve the chicken and the egg problem? Well, often when we want some people to do something, a good way to make them do it is pay them. So here what we can do, we can provide liquidity incentive with yield farming to start, and this way people can provide liquidity initially, and hopefully we can kick out a good flywheel. But this is not sustainable. You can't just make magic internet money to subsidize your prediction market all the time. So on the long term, we want to find information seekers, which are people who want to know some information and are ready to pay for it. So for example, if you're a real estate company, you may want to know if this particular area is safe, and so you can make some prediction market on natural disasters. If you are providing some DeFi insurance, you may want to know if a protocol is likely or not to be hacked. So you may also pay a bit to subsidize this market, and now you can price your insurance product. Another way where the information seeker may want to subsidize prediction market is when they have some information that they know, but they want to convince other people of this information. So an example would be, will Russia attack Ukraine? The US knew about it, but they could not really convince people. But now if they had made a prediction market, people could see, okay, there is a 90% chance of this happening, and so the world could be better prepared. So yeah, so the goal would be to start this flywheel. First you have yield farming, which starts the flywheel, then you get liquidity. Because you get liquidity, you get traders, either fun traders, which may lose money on average, but are mainly there to have fun, and then serious traders, which will really look into deep into the matters and give good predictions. So this will give good prediction for information seekers who may want to also subsidize liquidity, and also overall you have an ecosystem, so you also have a good feedback on the price of the token, which can mean even more liquidity incentives. So the goal is to start the flywheel. The revelation loss. So you can see this example of an order book given by liquidity providers. So you have all those sell orders and all those buy orders. So if you're lucky, you just get someone taking your sell order, and then someone taking your buy order, and if it keeps happening, or well, you make money out of the spread. But now what happens when suddenly the result of the market is known? So let's say the war in Ukraine stops, Putin said he will stop the operation. Well, now everyone knows that the price is 1. But you have all of those tokens in this order book at way less than 1. So the guy with the first is just going to buy all of those. The first one to manage to get a TX happening here. It's like real life MEV, let's say it. Yeah, that's done at the expense of the liquidity providers. And here the liquidity provider will lose 1 token of value because of selling a lot of tokens, which now everyone knows it's worth 1 at less than 1. So how can we solve that? We can solve that by mixing AMM and auction system. So we can make an AMM. Here, we don't need to use a constant product. We can do something a bit simpler because the maximum price is 1. So we can do a linear AMM. Except when you buy, you can't directly buy it. It starts an auction. So here, let's say you buy it at, the price is 0.0, and now the price is going to go to 0.1, that's slippage, and so the price would be the area under the curve, that's what you will need to pay. Except you don't necessarily pay that because it starts an auction, and someone can overbid you. And if they overbid you, that means that they would have paid more, and that's more money for the liquidity provider. And in this case, if the result is known, the auction is going to settle very close to 1. While in the other cases, most often no one will overbid you, and it will just have taken 1 hour for your order to be executed. Application, what can we do with prediction market? Well, we already talked a lot about political betting, and this tends to be more or less the part of prediction market which is maybe solved today and efficient today, because it's very popular. A lot of people are interested by politics and elections. You don't really have the revelation loss issue because you know when the election will happen, so you can just withdraw the liquidity beforehand, and that gives some good insight for businesses if they want to go in a particular country, and good insight for other governments if they want to predict how other governmental actors may respond in the future. But you can do something way more crazy, way more interesting. For example, we could set up a food and drug markets. So what could we do? We could have some drugs, and some people may believe that this drug may save people, while some other people may say, yeah, it may be a bit dangerous. We have to be cautious about that. So we're going to do a study. We're going to make a control group. They're not going to get the drugs. We're going to make a group where they're going to get the drugs. And at the end of the study, we will look at which group has the highest amount of survivors. And if you have more survivors in the drug-taking groups, that's good evidence that the drug is good. But the issue is that it takes time, and in the meantime, some people may die. So you can see here an example of people who say that they die because of regulation preventing them from taking drugs. Maybe initially it may be hard to have most nation-states do that, but you have a pretty nice movement right now, initiated by Balaj of making network state, or special economic zones, or special regulatory zone, which may be way more open to those kind of ideas. Another example would be for topics which are highly politicized. So I don't know much about Croatia, but in US and now maybe in Western Europe, you tend to have huge debate on children transitioning gender pretty early. And it's very hard to get any insight on that, because you already have two sides, and it's very politicized, and it's very hard to know which information is correct. And myself, I don't even know, and I don't even have any opinion on that, because I can't trust anyone. So what we could do, we could make a study, take a lot of children which are transitioning, and maybe 10 years later, we can ask, okay, did you regret this decision or not? And now we can make a market. So now you can have some insight beforehand that people who may want to transition may want to look before making their choice, and so this way they can have informed opinion for making life-altering decision. Because it's pretty important, because, well, if they change gender while they shouldn't, that's pretty bad for their mental health, and if they don't do it early enough, it tends to be less successful in the future, so that's also pretty bad. So that's very important to know if it tends to be a good thing medically, or not. And this way we can put something back into the scientific domain instead of the political domain. Futarchy, so the idea of futarchy is vote on values and bet on belief. So what could be value? So it's some metrics you may want to optimize. If you're a crypto project, that could be the price of your token. If you are a state, that could be a happiness metric. Maybe ask people if they are happy, look at the GDP, look at the overall health of your population, and now you get a metric that you want to optimize. So people still vote on the metric, but now they don't vote on what to do to get to these metrics. But to get to these metrics, people are going to make some proposal, they're going to open markets, and if those markets give conditionally some improvement over the metric, we implement the action, and if not, we don't implement the action. So that would be also a new form of governance, which can be interesting for crypto projects and also for those upcoming network states. Now we can look at AI markets. So currently, most of the prediction market, they tend to be consumed by human, or at least most of the volume is consumed by human. But we can also have AI making prediction. And in particular, we can do that where you only have a few microseconds and you are trading very, very low amounts, like think less than a cent. So currently you have a lot of AIs that you use in your daily life, even if you don't really know it. So if you are looking on social media, you will have some AIs that will try to predict which content you will like. When you are making some search, they are trying to predict which content you are searching and you will want to see. If you are watching Netflix, for example, you will have some recommendation. So all of those are currently run by a centralized company, and you could replace all of that with prediction markets. So let's give you some examples. So here was actually my Netflix feed, and here they show me like TV show that they believe I would like, and they are using their own AI. But how could we replace that? We could replace that with a prediction market, which would be a conditional prediction market, where the question would be, if Clement watches this TV show, will he like it? And now you can get some market-based estimate. And for example, for the first show, they will say you have 62% chance of watching it, of liking it, so they will put it first on the list of recommendation for me. And most of them, obviously, I won't watch them, so those markets, they get cancelled because you will never know. But for the show that I will like, if Netflix finds out that I really like it, so for example, if I watch it until the end, but if I stop in the middle, maybe they will believe that I don't really like it. They will raise all these markets, and then the AI who correctly predicted it will get some profit, while the one who did not, they will lose a bit of money. So you can do that for all the products which are currently using AI. Instead of using AI, you make a prediction market, you let any AI participate in it, and now you replace your AI by a decentralized system, which is going to aggregate the information out of multiple AI. So will Netflix do that? Maybe not the first, but now when you are making decentralized projects, like decentralized social media, and people want to be decentralized from the start, and they don't want to have a single operator, that's even the only solution that those projects will have, is they want to run an AI algorithm to give recommendation. So the current progress, so you can see here, I made some market about the attendance of the next BlockSplit conference. I put the range between 0 and 2,000. I'm an optimist. So you can see what it looks like. You can buy up token if you think that you will have a high attendance, down token if you think that you will have a low attendance. So that's, let's say, a mainnet beta. Why mainnet? Because we are using so many underlying projects that we couldn't even find a testnet which have all of them. So we had to test on the mainnet. And for conclusion, yeah, so prediction market, I think they are very interesting. They are starting to get a big hype, like we saw a lot of people talking about it with the election and the ETF, but I still think they are underused. And they were one of the early plans in the Ethereum white paper, but I don't think the holy grail of prediction market has been found yet. I think we have at least good market for political purposes, but that's pretty much it. So here I propose you some way to solve current prediction market issues, and if fortunately we get a more efficient market, we could use that in our daily life, specifically as project founders, to make better decisions. And in the slightly longer term, we will have similar to auction. We will have prediction market being played with by AI, which will become the majority of the prediction market in the same way as currently most auctions are not between humans, but between some bots which are competing for advertisement space. And I expect something similar to happen with prediction market. So thank you for listening, and we're going to go to the questions. Yeah. So Polymarket is really like a pretty old prediction market where you only have...
I apologize. I'll just repeat it for the people online. So what makes you better than Polymarket? Thank you.
Yeah, so Polymarket was really done, I think, 4 years ago. So you just have yes-no questions. So even on the current beta, we have a scalar market. We can predict scalar values. We can have multiple outcome questions. So just on the current beta, just what is currently implemented. Why I think we can do something better than Polymarket is we can get more liquidity with liquidity incentives, while Polymarket tend to pay liquidity provider by themselves. So it's not really an open participation for the liquidity. Is by using ERC20 tokens. So with the ERC20 token, we can have some composability. So we can use other exchanges. We can also do some fun stuff, like for example, with a Trump market, will Trump win the US election? No, we have a yes Trump token, and maybe we can use that to make a Trump DAO, for example. And or at the same time, we can do a Biden or a Michelle Obama DAO or whoever is running on the other side. So we will have all these composabilities that you don't really have currently in Polymarket. And also about the way to make it interesting to provide liquidity on market where we don't know when we know, the example being Ukraine war, for example. Currently, if I wanted to put some limit order in Polymarket, I will have a high risk of, if the result become known, of losing a bunch of money. So that's why we are working on developing this mix of AMM and auction systems.
Has there been any analysis of whether bots, AIs, are actively participating in various markets yet?
Yeah, like so if you look at Omen, Omen is the prediction market which gets the highest amount of transactions, and they are almost all done by AI. So you have two teams working on that. You have the Gnosis team, and you have the OLAS team. And they are making prediction market bots which are competing with each other. Currently, I would say that their accuracy is lower than humans, but obviously their cost is also way lower than humans. So they tend to make some market with 10 DAI of liquidity. And like most of the humans, they don't care about market with 10 DAI of liquidity, but the bots, they do because they are very low cost. So they are already doing that. But for now, it's mainly like research, and I'm not aware of anyone actually consuming the result of those markets. And they are doing something like 10 different markets per day. And they actually also use AI to create the markets themselves and to resolve the markets themselves. But currently, the AIs, they are all in sync, so they don't fight. So we haven't gotten a dispute between AI, but I guess at some point we're going to have an AI dispute going up to Kleros. Okay, so I guess that's all. So thanks everyone, and see you at the conference.